Bonjour mes belles, my name is Gypsy, and once again you're hanging out with me on Broken Dolly TV. Okay, so here's the thing, I'm using a different mic than what I'm used to using when I make content for you guys, so I'm still adjusting to my microphone. I don't always know how loud I'm talking because I normally talk really loud. I have to kind of go out of my way to speak in like a civilized voice. So don't mind me if my volume seems a little out of control, because it is. Alright, but anyway, I just wanted to give you that little disclaimer. So today we're going to answer a couple of comments from you guys. The way I'm going to do it this time, I'm getting a big influx of comments over the last week or so that I really want to get to answering. So if I skip over your comments in this video, it's not because I skipped over it in real life. By the time I edit this, some of the stuff that I'm saying is going to get deleted out in the interest of time. So please don't take it personal if you don't see your comment featured here in this particular episode. I definitely saw your comment. We're going to start with this video. Are you a doll hoarder? If you haven't watched this video, please go ahead and check it out. Take a look at my little presentation about hoarding and how it might be affecting us in the doll collecting community and different signs that we should be looking for just to kind of be on top of our mental health as we're enjoying this hobby. And I did get tons of comments from people. Shout out to all the people who left comments. If you don't hear me responding specifically to yours, a shout out to you guys. We've got Tevin saying, I'm a doll hoarder. Probably. But that's what happens when I've been in this hobby for 10 plus years. Tevin. That is so something Tevin would say. Oh gosh, I love it. Yo, seriously though, I don't know if you count as a doll hoarder, to be honest. I don't know. I feel like sometimes when we have tons and tons and tons of dolls, we love to just jokingly say that we're hoarding. But this is why y'all gotta watch this video, because I promise you there's a fine line between actually hoarding and just being a very intense collector. Trust me. My daughter was like, Mom, am I a hoarder? I collect squishmallows. I was like, girl, no. Do you do this? Do you do that? Do you do that? No? Okay, well, then you're not a hoarder. KK said I have a lot of those same dolls. That's what's up. I love when I hear other people saying that they have the same dolls that I have, because it's kind of like, yeah, I know. Good taste club. I know, girl. Anyways, let me stop being cocky. Tammy said, great video. I think mine is Barbie clothes and Integrity doll jewelry. I did donate a lot of items to St. Joseph's Children's Thrift Store. I just love rerooted heads and fantasy hair color. So, again, Tammy, I don't think you're a hoarder if you are voluntarily giving away your dolls to the thrift store, unless they went there kicking and screaming and someone had to drag them out the house. I honestly don't think you count. This is great that we're assessing ourselves, because that's what the whole intention of the video was for. For those of us who are like right on the borderline of the hoarder line, we will be like, you know what? Maybe I need to cool it. Maybe I need to relax. I'm not saying you should stop collecting because you think you might be a hoarder. No, I'm saying let's just take a quick assessment at our situation. Maybe it's time to clean up. Maybe it's just time for us to rearrange our dolls, clean up our space, and just make it look neater. Give our dolls a polished, refined, good treatment that they deserve by actually taking care of them and not just tossing them all in a box someplace, right? Heavenly Pink says, love you, Gypsy. Oh, thank you for saying that. I really appreciate your support. Been watching your videos for years. You know what? I've been getting so many comments from people that literally have been telling me that they've been watching me for years. And I'm like, are you serious? Really? Because some of these people, I haven't seen their comments in the comment section until just recently, or they changed their profile names or the pictures that they use for their icons. I just don't recognize them. So Heavenly Pink continues to say, one of my favorite YouTubers. In regards to doll hoarding, I feel that sometimes I'm a hoarder. I got a Begoth doll new in box, and I appreciated her for 2 minutes, and then I just put her in my closet, to be honest. I think I should clean up shelf space before I buy new dolls. I feel you, girl, and I support it. Whatever it is that you're doing with your collection that makes you feel more comfortable, absolutely do it, as long as that's not harmful behavior. You know, if you want to just set them all on fire, not saying do it inside the house, but if that's just what you got to do to appease the stress of your boss breathing down your neck every day at work, and you're like, you know what? This doll reminds me of my boss. I think I'm gonna set her on fire in the backyard. I'm just saying. Have at it. Just do it. 4042. After I get this doll today, I'm going to stop for a while buying. I'm happy with what I have now in my collection, and I don't want it to get out of control because it is addictive. And you're right, it really is an addictive hobby. I think any hobby where you're collecting things is absolutely addictive. But also, I think that people who love to collect things, in turn, a lot of us tend to just have addictive personality types. Like, if it wasn't dolls, it would probably be something else. And I feel like, at the very least, I'd prefer that my addiction be something that's harmless than something that could be harmful, like smoking or doing drugs, getting into fights. Some people are addicted to the adrenaline rush of being aggressive and fighting with everybody around them. Trust me, I know too many people who are like that. So I would rather be addicted to my dolls than something that's destructive. Maxine, I already know I'm going to love this comment before I even read it. Not because there's a paragraph, okay? Because paragraph comments are always the best. But because it's Maxine, that's why. Wow, I keep all packaging and I can't throw doll parts away. But I do give away dolls sometimes to friends and kids. My collection is so much smaller than most people I watch. I don't consider it taking over my space. I do buy dolls occasionally, save up to open when I have a bad day rather than for nostalgia. Ooh, that's interesting. I don't think any of the more major things apply to me, but I do attribute a sense of aliveness to them. I'm pretty organized with where I keep them, and I have spreadsheets tracking their details. This was a fascinating video. This is a fascinating comment. That's really interesting. I really like that. I have had dolls that I didn't allow myself to open until I reached a certain goal that I was trying to discipline myself to concentrate on doing, and then after I reach that goal, then I will open up the dolls, right? It could be something like saving money, like something you're struggling with, and you're like, you know what, when I have $400 saved up in my piggy bank, then I'm going to open up this doll that I really love, and I can't play with her until after then. And then the anticipation of like all the things you want to do with that doll build up while you're working on this goal, and it's a very good motivator sometimes. This is a completely different level right here. To save the doll to open when you're just having a bad day, that is really, really interesting and a great way to relieve stress, I think. And I mean, at the end of the day, isn't that what doll therapy is all about? A lot of us love dolls literally for therapeutic reasons. I think that's brilliant. Jennifer Louise said, thank you for covering this topic. My mom and brother hoard, not dolls, but other stuff. And I've tried to make sure I don't hoard. They refuse to acknowledge the problem and have a lot of excuses. I don't visit anymore because of it. I feel you covered the topic very well. Thank you. And Jennifer, this is what I was talking about in this video when I was saying, are we choosing our stuff over our relationships with humans? That's a huge sign of hoarding, is that you prefer to keep your mess around you than clean it up and actually have proper relationships with human beings that want to be a part of your life. They love you, they want to spend time with you, they want to talk to you, they want to just enjoy your company, but it's so hard to do that in this messy, crazy environment where I can't even think straight, you know? Now, the problem with me is that, well, I guess it's not a problem, but I mean, I have like a personal check system that kind of makes it almost impossible for me to hoard unless this check system disappears. Because I have like autism and a lot of other disorders or like conditions that kind of make me need to have things a certain way, kind of like OCD almost. The type of OCD that I have makes it almost impossible for me to hoard things because I need my space to be organized. Like, I get so annoyed when I don't have order in my space. You know, if I don't have functionality, if I can't find things that I'm looking for, I just get so annoyed with the clutter, things being in the middle of my floor in my house. Like, I have this rule in my house where nothing goes on the floor unless it's furniture. And of course, I have 2 kids and they don't follow this rule all the time, so I'm constantly nagging them, pick this thing up off the floor, make sure this thing is not on the floor. Why got that thing on the floor? Does that look like something that belongs on the floor? It's just like, they already know. When they see that look on my face, like, oh man, she about to tell me to pick something up off the floor. Man, I would tell them to pick the couch up off the floor if it wasn't for that. It's furniture. I heard somebody say that in England, a lot of people, they tend to push all of their furniture up against walls instead of having them like in the middle of the floor or off the wall, which we do a lot in America. But I must be a Brit at heart, okay? The rest of this video, I'm just gonna talk like this because it might be a lot easier for me to express myself if I just accept the fact that deep down in my heart, I'm actually a Brit. I don't understand why we do this. Why do we pull the furniture up away from the walls? Maybe it's just for the look, the feng shui of it, but like I can't get with it because my OCD, I can't walk around furniture. Like, get out of my way. Maybe it's because I'm clumsy. I'm always the one that's tripping and falling and stepping on things. I cannot. You feel me? I don't think it's possible for me in this state of mind to successfully, even if I tried to, become a hoarder because the mess would just drive me absolutely insane. I can never function in that environment. Right now, because my house is so small than what I'm used to having, to me it feels incessantly cluttered. And when people come over to my house, they're like, oh, your house is so nice. They don't think that my house is messy, but to me it's too messy. So like I'm constantly looking for things that I can get rid of, move around, rearrange, do something with, because I just too many things in my path, you know. So actually this is part of the reason why I've kind of paused my own collecting for the time being, because I've just so many dolls and doll clutter that I don't have no space for, nowhere that I can even store them, that at this stage I need to downsize rather than expand. Elise Explosion, what an interesting name, said thank you so much for sharing this. I know it's a very fine line at times and it's easy to joke, but it can be hard to tell if you have crossed into hoarding territory. I'm going to continue to share this with my Dolly circle, and I do appreciate that, guys. Please, I welcome you to share whatever videos on my channel you think would be entertaining or educational for other people, because that is the intent. And also, we want to grow our community. We want to find more doll lovers who are adults that can come over here and be part of these conversations and contribute to the conversation, just like all of you guys in my comments are doing right now, because I think we learn from each other when we share each other's experiences. Blake Gildafish, my boo, said, my situation is a little complicated. Every room in my house, except for the bathroom, has doll items or toys in them. But they are the same dolls and toys that I have had for years. My main issue is organization, but I know that shelving will help with that. The trick is finding the proper shelves for my vision, and that is going to take time. Well, Blake, I encourage you to share your vision with other collectors if you haven't done so already. I mean, I don't know, maybe on Instagram or whatever other platforms you're on, or even over here. Share your ideas in our community tab and in the comment section. I encourage other people to brainstorm along with each other and give each other suggestions and ideas on ways that we can maximize our collections and do things that maybe we didn't think to do. That's why I try so hard to share every process that I'm doing. Even if I make mistakes, I try to tell you guys about it to let you know this thing doesn't work. I tried it and it just did not work for me. And maybe you can take my idea and tweak it and then it will work for you. Or if you are in the verge of telling yourself, oh, I'm going to try this thing out. Well, you heard it from me. It didn't work. That's what I like to do, because I feel like everybody learns from successes and mistakes. Blake, whatever your vision is of how you want to do your shelves, if you share that with some of us, then maybe we can brainstorm and figure out some ways that you could get it done. Bree Marie said, this is such an important video. Thank you for being the first doll tuber I've seen to seriously address this. Thank you so much for saying that, and I hope that I can continue to do this moving forward with other topics as well. And if you guys have specific topics that you think that we don't really talk about in the DollTube community, listen, a lot of people don't like to talk about controversial things for many reasons. It's not because they don't want to talk about it, but they might have other barriers in place. Just for example, some people have religions where it's very taboo for them to talk about certain things or even acknowledge certain things. And so they just don't feel comfortable talking about that stuff publicly because they're trying not to violate the rules of their religion. Some people they're shy. They don't want to talk about certain things because they don't want to be judged by other people's opinions about what they think about things. Some people don't talk about certain stuff because they're just in denial about it. They don't want to believe that it's really happening. And then some people won't talk about things because they feel like if they say the wrong thing and offend the wrong person, they could easily get canceled, because we live in a cancel culture at this point in history, and it can be scary for people to lose their livelihood or their reputation because they just supposedly said something that offended someone. And like everything offends everybody, especially in America these days. So what can I talk about unless I'm just saying a bunch of peachy, bright, colorful, happy-go-lucky sounding things, right? I mean, there's people out here that will claim that they're woke, that they support all these different movements, but they don't really in their hearts. They're just saying that because they don't want you to flip out thinking they don't like you because you fall into the demographic of one of these, protected groups, for example. I don't want us to hold it against any of the doll tubers who don't talk about these things openly, because a lot of them think they have things to lose if they do talk about it, even if they wanted to. Now, me on the other hand, I feel like, first of all, I would talk about this stuff with my friends in real life anyways, and I consider you guys my friends because I don't have anybody else that I would be talking about doll stuff with other than y'all. To me, it's like, well, they're my friends, so I'm going to tell them what I think about this particular issue that seems to be affecting some of my friends. It's not a judgmental conversation. It's to help each other, right? Sometimes when we have a problem, we need someone else to be like, hey, are you all right? I noticed you're rapidly gaining a little bit of weight and I was just concerned for you. I don't need to flip out. I don't need to be like, oh, you trying to say I'm fat? You fat shaming me. No, you care about me. That's why you're pointing out something that doesn't seem normal. But a lot of us will get upset because of that. Oh, you're not normalizing certain body types. And it's like, bruh, listen, calm down. Body types is one thing, but having an suddenly obese figure when you weren't obese before is a whole different story, okay? Let's all stop playing ourselves. I'm speaking for myself when I say this. I used to be someone who weighed about 140 pounds, and then I blew up after having a couple of kids and not being conscious of my fitness and my health. And after gaining not even a whole lot of weight, y'all, I was probably 40 pounds over my usual stasis weight. After I gained that weight, I also gained a bunch of health problems. I have type 2 diabetes right now, hypertension, high cholesterol. Too many of the pills I need to take that are prescribed to me have to do with things that happened after I gained weight, because my body could not handle having to pump blood and nutrients to all these different parts of my body that it just cannot reach at a regular pace, right? The difference that my body feels when I'm working out diligently and dropping weight is unbelievable compared to how I feel when I'm just slowly gaining another pound, It's a completely different feeling. I'm telling you, if you are someone who's struggling with your weight, please don't let these people who tell you not to feel body shamed to make you believe it's okay to stay overweight. If you have the ability to lose some of that weight, I'm not telling you to go get skinny. I'm saying any amount that you can lose, if it's 5 pounds, if it's 10 pounds, if it's 20 pounds, and you can keep that off, go for it. Don't let these people make you feel comfortable in your discomfort, because I promise you, I know you don't feel comfortable in that body. I know you're uncomfortable. I don't mean uncomfortable because you're self-conscious, because a lot of us are self-conscious. We don't like the way our clothes fit us. We don't like how difficult it is for us to move around. I'm talking about uncomfortable, literally, physically, where you sit and you can't breathe too good. You stand and your body is aching. You think it's just normal for your back to always be hurting when you're 30 years old. That's not normal. That ain't normal. Your body is designed to work a certain way. 1/3 of what you put into your body needs to be water. 1/3 is air and 1/3 is food. So you don't have to like what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's better for us to encourage each other to be healthy, productive, and conscious of our surroundings and our situations, rather than just keep patting each other on the back and saying everything's fine. Oh, everything's good. No, there's no problem. Problems? Oh, no. If you tell yourself there's no problem, then that's your truth. And that's all you need to do. Just keep telling yourself there's no problem. Please stop it. Please stop it. If you are messing up your relationships with other people, that is the first sign that there is a problem. Work on it. You understand what I'm saying? If your body is so out of control, you don't have the strength, the energy, or the ability to move it around so you can go to the park with your kids, so you can throw a birthday party and have children come over and mind them, so that you can go for a walk with your spouse. If you are not capable of doing that, there is a problem, because it wasn't always like that. There was a time when it wasn't like that for you. And for some of us who since childhood had to deal with these kinds of things, it's not your fault. It's probably your parents' fault, because they did not instill in you a lifestyle that made it possible for you to even experience what it's like to not be in the state of discomfort all the time. Who knows? But it doesn't matter whose fault it is. The problem I'm trying to say is that it exists. So if you sense that there's a problem, don't sit there and keep wallowing in it and making it worse and worse and worse, because guys, we live in a society where everybody wants a pat on the back because they exist. Nah, man, that's not how that works. That ain't how it works. If you just want to get a bunch of awards and prizes because you exist today, something is wrong with you. You need to earn the things that you want in your life. You have to go and work for the things that you want in your life. Just like you have to work for the money that you want in your life, you got to work for everything else that you want in your life. You understand? So I'm just here to encourage my friends to say, go for it. If you feel like you need to lose some weight, go for it. If you feel like you need to change things about your personality you don't like maybe you have a really horrible temper, go for it. Change that thing about yourself. Don't tell yourself, oh, I just got anger management problems. Whatever. Anybody who love me gotta just deal with my temper. No, they don't. That's called being abusive and toxic. Nobody has to deal with your abuse and your toxicity. Alright? Nobody. You're not entitled to anybody's love and affection when you're throwing a bunch of abuse and toxicity at them. Because if they were doing that to you, you wouldn't just be accepting of it. You would think, you're not treating me right. You're being disrespectful to me and I don't deserve this, and you would leave. So we need to work on these things. As people, we don't like to hear these things because we always tell ourselves, oh, you're preaching to me. Oh, you're judging me. Nah, man, I ain't judging you, but you need to judge yourself. It don't affect me what you do with your life. Really, at the end of the day, I don't have to care. It's your life. If you live or die at 35 years old because your diabetes is out of control, at the end of the day, whose problem is that? Right, guys? If I go into a diabetic coma tomorrow because I'm not taking care of myself, y'all would feel bad for me. But at the end of the day, it's like, girl, it ain't like you didn't know. It ain't like they didn't tell you what to do at the hospital. What was you doing? You know what I'm saying? Come on. These things are preventable, and you can't wait for other people to prevent these things from happening. You got to do it yourself. You have to take charge of your own life. I be ranting. You got to be going off on a tangent. But the other thing I was going to say is the reason why I don't mind talking about these kinds of things here is because I don't feel a threat of cancellation. For me, it feels like if you're going to cancel someone, then they got to be somebody. It's got to be something that they can lose that would make it worth the threat of cancellation actually affecting them. And for me, it ain't like that. Who the hell am I? I ain't nobody special. I'm just a lady who likes to collect dolls that ain't afraid to talk about it publicly with other people who like to collect dolls. That's just it. I'm just like you. I'm just way, way less shy, I guess, if you want to look at it that way. I don't have no clout. I don't got no influence. I don't got no power. I don't got no company. I don't got no nothing. I don't have anything that I could lose because a bunch of strangers online decide they want to cancel me. So it's like, if you just don't like what I said and therefore you're going to boycott my entire platform because you don't like something I said, that's not a loss to me. You doing me a favor, because I don't even want to be around people who can't exchange diverse ideas with other people, even if they don't agree with them. It's so much stuff that people do that I totally disagree with, but that doesn't stop me from getting to know those people, asking them questions about why they think what they think, exploring their thoughts and ideologies, and learning as much as I can about different thought processes, because I think it helps you to be a more well-rounded person when you have many different perspectives to draw from. I'm just curious. It's just weird to me that people will say that they want inclusivity and that they want everyone to feel equal and they want everyone to be represented. And then when people do represent themselves and do say that they have an opinion about something, if it doesn't fit within your agenda, then you cancel the person. Then you say that whatever they're talking about is irrelevant, their opinions don't matter, they're somehow being discriminatory, Like, you don't want to include those people's opinions and ideas and experiences? How's that fair? It just feels like that's the same thing that the people who cancel everyone are claiming that they want other people to do for them. Give me a chance to express myself. Okay, great. Express yourself, but why can't the rest of us express ourselves too? If I just don't agree, I'm allowed to not agree. Whatever happened to, it's a free country. When I say, tell me if you guys have a topic you guys want to talk about that you think is a little taboo or a little weird or uncomfortable for a lot of doll tubers to get into, I totally get it. But you can leave them over here in my comments, my community tab, and request me to talk about those things. I may not have an opinion on some of those topics, and some of them I might. Some of them I might just develop an opinion after I look into it. But whatever the case is, I don't have no problem talking about that stuff over here and having open discussions about things that affect us. Because at the end of the day, though we all love dolls, we love to collect, and that's what brings us together outside of the dolly sphere, okay? The reality is we're all human beings, and any way that us humans can exchange ideas and connect with one another is important, I think. And that's why YouTube is so big, because this is one of those places where people can come to for free to connect with other people who have differing ideas from them that can teach me something. You can choose to live in a bubble where you don't expose yourself to anything other than whatever you feel comfortable around. Absolutely, you have every right to do that. At the same time, the rest of us who don't want to do that also have the right to engage with each other and share ideas. I hope that encourages you to leave those comments and those questions and requests for different topics that you guys want to discuss in a safe environment where it's okay to talk about these things without having to worry about literally getting canceled, judged, yelled at, and called a bunch of names because you just have a curious mind and you want to explore these topics that you feel are important social issues that we all need to be talking about. Yeah, so thank you guys so much for contributing to this video. I do encourage all of you watching this that are new, don't be shy. This is a really safe space, and I'm doing these comment videos partially because I do want to get to you guys' comments and respond to them, but also because I want to open the dialogue for all of us to come out of our shells. And it's okay if you're a shy person, outside in your day-to-day life, because you feel like a lot of people don't understand you. But here, I want you guys to feel like with all your weird and quirkiness, you can come over here and express yourselves. It's okay. I know, y'all, I know I'll be joking around a lot with some of my viewers, like Tevin, for example, who said earlier that he's been collecting for 10 plus years, and he was like, I'm probably a doll hoarder, whatever. Yo, when Tevin first came over to this channel, we didn't agree about a lot of things. He would come over and debunk some of the things that I would be talking about or correct me. And I think a lot of people who come online and make content get really upset when their viewers don't agree with everything that they say, right? But that's really interesting that the dynamic of how he interacted with this channel initially was in that way, where people would probably get offended and be like, oh, why are you kind of coming over here trying to tell me what to do? But I didn't even look at it like that. I looked at it like, no, this is his opinion. This is what he's backing up his opinion with. I love when people come at me with logic, not just a bunch of emotions, right? And I think whatever it was we were talking about, I still disagreed, but I understood where he was coming from, and I just explained myself to him. I'm telling you, it's okay. It's okay to disagree with people. That's life. You're not gonna, you know how many billions of people are on this planet? You ain't gonna agree with everybody, but you can still build relationships with each other. Just because we have differences doesn't mean that we can't be friends, right? Everybody in your social circle doesn't have to be the same religion as you. They don't have to be the same race as you. They don't have to have the same type of family dynamic you have. They don't have to have the same orientation that you have. They don't have to all be the same gender that you are. They don't have to be the same as you in order for you to have a fulfilling relationship with people. People who are exactly like you in every single way you can think of be having tons of problems too. They're not exempt from getting on your nerves. Everyone's going to get on your nerves. That's just life. You know what I'm saying? But despite the fact that we be getting on each other's last nerves, the tolerance and the patience that we show each other is what it means to be a human, we relate to one another, we have compassion for each other, we try to look out for each other, we try to help one another where we can. That's what makes us human beings. That's what makes us different than the animals. Guys, I hope that this video is encouraging to some of you who are like trying to come out of your shells, or you have something that's really weighing heavy on your mind. It don't gotta have nothing to do with dolls. I'm telling you, if you're just like, bro, I don't like the relationship that I'm in, I'm so depressed, I feel miserable, the person who I'm with just makes me feel like crap every single day, but I'm stuck here, I feel trapped in this situation, I got kids with this person, I don't know where I'm gonna go, I don't know how I'm gonna survive because this person makes most of the money in the household. I can't even drive. Like, whatever your issue is, you might not be in an abusive situation. Maybe they're not beating you up. Sometimes we will overlook psychological abuse, mental abuse, because we don't understand that it is abusive. We just think, oh, it's their personality. They just talk harsh. And that's not always the case. You should feel like there's a safe space somewhere where you can talk about these things and reach out to people, and someone's going to take you serious. They're going to hear what you're saying, and they're going to give you some advice, some pointers, some ideas on how you can alleviate yourself from these stressful situations. Stress kills, man. Seriously. It causes health problems, cancer, sickness, mental illness, so many different things that can really affect you in a negative way. And not just you, but the people who are around you that love you will get affected by you being stressed the hell out all the time. It's not a good state to live in, and when that becomes your norm, it doesn't really occur to you that I don't gotta live like this. There's no rule that says I have to be trapped in this nonsense for the rest of my life. I don't gotta do this. You don't realize that sometimes, Now, of course, there are those of us who take that too far, and every little thing that we don't like, that we can't get our way, we'll just be like, okay, canceled. I'm canceling this person in my life. I ain't talking to this person. I'm writing you out. I'm cutting you off. That's not good either. You gotta have some balance, but at the end of the day, you got to take care of yourself, right? Let me stop ranting. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. My name's Gypsy, and I'll see you right back here on Broken Dolly TV. Until then, have a Dolly day.